While it takes place in the fictional region of Russia known as Norvinsk, most other aspects of this gritty survival shooter feel both rich and realistic. Players fight against others in intense skirmishes by way of vast PMC raids online or scaled-back scavenger raids. Escape from Tarkov leans on traditional MMO shooter mechanics a la Counter-Strike, those sprinkles in survival gameplay through equipment, gear, and buildable weapons that can be stashed for future raids. Bandages and medical supplies will be needed to tend to wounds, bringing some retro FPS flair along with survival bits. The game is also roguelike-esque, as this wealth will be lost if players perish in battle. Refined visuals, weighty mechanics, and long battles make for an immersive experience.
Goodbye.
When you think of a game taking place in the medieval age, your mind immediately goes to fantasy like The Witcher and Dark Souls. Medieval Dynasty doesn't have sorcerers or dragons wreaking havoc on villagers, instead presenting a more realistic life and survival sim where you build a village and keep everyone thriving. You'll use weapons and tools from the period to hunt and build various structures, along with farming to provide grain and crops for your villagers. You can also ride horses and encounter all sorts of other wildlife as well as NPCs that can offer you quests and be prepared for every season's weather, though how fast they change is less realistic. The most realistic survival gameplay experience out there is Green Hell. This one takes you to the beautiful Amazon rainforest, but the environment's natural elements won't make things quite as pretty for you. One of the most realistic parts is the injury system, which has detailed wounds and allows you to examine and treat an infection or laceration on any part of your body, no matter how small. The detail goes as far as you becoming ill if you don't properly wash the dirt off your hands before you eat, as well as needing to take painkillers, rest, and drink water to fight off a fever. The inventory system with the backpack is another well-executed element in its lifelike design and the limit on items it can carry. The Forest and its sequel, Sons of the Forest, are a genre mix of survival craft simulators and a survival horror aspect that comes in the form of those deadly mutated cannibals trying to hunt you throughout the island. Other than that, the graphics and the animals and weapons all look incredibly realistic. To make things even more realistic and to just enjoy the survival aspect without having to worry about those hostile cannibals, you can play both games on peaceful mode. You'll build your base by chopping a few trees, hunt for food, gather water, and sleep soundly in the forest environment. Set in a unique lore where players are prisoners in an arena, Scum combines open-world survival with a reality TV concept. The primary goal is to survive, with PvP and zombies posing threats. Melee combat against zombies is straightforward, while enormous mechs guarding high loot areas present an insurmountable challenge. Character persistence does not carry over across servers, allowing multiple save files and individual fame rankings. Fame points can be utilized for character revival or participation in deathmatch games. The metabolism may appear overwhelming initially, but managing sicknesses and nutritional values is relatively straightforward. Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey presents a more realistic journey of survival in prehistoric times than games like Far Cry Primal and Ark Survival Evolved. As the name suggests, this is a story about our hominid ancestors and their evolution over time with the environments the clan populates. And it's a project from the creative director of Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. Your clan consists of babies, adults, and elders, and you start from 10 million years back in the Neogene period of Africa to 2 million years back. Ensuring survival and evolving as a species is the core gameplay. You'll need to find others like you to grow your numbers, hunt, mate, sleep, and evade dangerous predators. And if you die, you become a different hominid from your clan, so try not to go extinct. The graphics might be far from the most realistic in the long dark, but the harsh frozen survival landscape and permadeath mechanic beg to differ. That's right, as in real life, if you die from the adverse effects of your survival journey, your character here dies permanently, and you'll be forced to start over with a new game. The long dark is also unique in that it differs from lush tropical island settings or warmer forest and desert biomes. It instead puts you in the frozen Canadian wilds due to a cataclysmic geomagnetic storm. Aside from your usual hunting needs for hunger, you must do your best to keep warm and avoid hypothermia in the weather conditions, your clothing playing a big part. This game showcases the civilian perspective of war and is a survival tale that hits very close to home for those living in war-torn countries. You're responsible for a group of displaced survivors in the fictional Podvarin, Grasnavia, hiding out and struggling with basic needs of medicine, food, and other materials complicated to come across with a war raging on their land. There's a counter for the number of days the war has been going on, the temperature conditions, the time of day critical for heading outside the shelter, and your characters having their names and pictures as black and white photographs. As these characters, you will make your own moral decisions for supplies that could mean life or death, and the fate of the survivors rests all on you. The premise of Stranded Deep borrows from the forest in that a plane crash leads to you surviving on a remote island in the Pacific Ocean. You have detailed negative status effects like diarrhea, bleeding, poisoning, sunstroke, and drowning, which are already more realistic elements coming into play when you're in an unfamiliar island setting. Then there are meat spits you can craft for roasting food over a fire, palm trees you can climb to collect, coconuts to feed and hydrate yourself, and even build some water still collectors to capture your water. It's a lot like the forest, but rather than dealing with cannibals, you have many species of shark and giant marine life that look strikingly real. Set in the bleak, melancholic former Soviet Republic Chernobyl, DayZ is a memorable dark survival thriller. It offers a grueling survival experience where players must manage meters for thirst, hunger, temperature, and more while facing supply scarcity. The game's main goal is to gather supplies and gear up, but the more players accumulate, the more dangerous it becomes, as others may kill them for their loot. Player interactions are crucial, with encounters ranging from friendly cooperation to betrayals and ambushes. The presence of other players creates tension and makes each encounter an opportunity for a unique story. However, the possibility of exciting and intense moments keeps gamers engaged. The game's player-driven nature adds to its appeal, as encounters and events are created by real players rather than scripted by developers. DayZ may be worth exploring for those seeking a tough, immersive, and social survival experience. This chilling romp offers a realistic, immersive experience by injecting various details that enhance the survival aspect of a zombie apocalypse. Players must keep track of time using watches or alarm clocks, choose appropriate clothing for protection and warmth, and engage in activities such as cooking, farming, gathering food, and repairing machines. Its challenging nature sets Project Zomboid apart, where even a minor mistake can have fatal consequences, mirroring the unforgiving reality of a zombie apocalypse. The game stresses intensity by bringing a brutal permadeath system, meaning that if a player's character dies, they're gone for good. This adds an extra layer of realism and forces players to be cautious and strategic in their decisions.